this? The hardest reading challenge you'll ever do? Bet. So yes, I am doing the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. I recently found out about it and I will post the original creator down below. I'm expecting to fail, and yet I'm also hoping to completely nail it. We will see. I started it early. Technically it starts on July 7th. I started it, I want to say June 8th, but I'll post it here. A whole year long thing because I wanted to count a couple of books that I was already reading, which I finished 3 already. One was Sword Crossed by Freya Marske. The other one was A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett, and A Song of Legends Lost by HRCYED. And I loved all of them, they were amazing. Any review that I do of the books that I'm going to mention here, I will link below, because I'm not going to do a whole full thoughts on this. This is just unhinged vlog that you'll either find entertaining or you'll find boring. You can skip on, I don't care. So, 3 books down, I'm getting a good start. So these are the prompts: By the 100s, 24-hour readathon, subgenres of choice, series staircase, award season, TBR game, challenge, the last 10 years, Sorry for the Wind, all the adaptations, Disability Rep Challenge, Heritage Month Challenge, which is the one I'm struggling to find prompts for, but by this point I would have found them. Translation Challenge, Around the World, The Even Bigger Rainbow, Make a Quote, Spooky Creatures, Become the Avatar, Complete Any Readathon, Animals Are Better, always, Queer Alphabet Round 2, Favourite Haiku Prompt 1, which I have gone for, read a 500-page book in one day. We're going to see if that's going to go, because I have an operation coming up and I'm going to be home. So I'm hoping I could do it in one day. Who knows? The most I've done is like 350. BIPOC Challenge, Extended New Releases Challenge, Challenge Yourself, Non-Fiction Challenge, and Q's Reviews and Recs. Now for Challenge Yourself, I've challenged myself to read 12 self-help books. I'm really bad at reading self-help books, partly because some of the self-help books I've picked up have just been lackluster and I DNF really, really quickly. But then you have some gems like Sword of Kaigan, which is absolutely fucking incredible. And I don't mind Rebecca Thorne's work either, but now some of her stuff is tried published, some of it isn't. So I have a list of those that I am planning to read. Whether or not I will keep up with them, I don't know, because DNFs don't count. You can count rereads after every 10 new book you read. And I'm a massive rereader, so we are going to see how this is going to go. But so far, we are sitting on the 22nd of June, and I started this on the 8th of June. And I have read 3 books, and I've got a total of 32 points. Now, first I read was Sword Crossed by Freya Marske. I did this, most of these I've done either audio or a mix of both at the moment. So I did mainly audio for Sword Crossed, but I did end up picking it up and physically reading it because Luca held my heart. Oh my God, Luca, the gayness. I didn't even realize this was contemporary fantasy. Like, the only reason it's in the fantasy genre is because it's a made up world. There was like no magic in it and I was eating it up. I absolutely fucking adored it. I don't know if you can see them. You can see the puppies, and I loved it. So I counted it, and 5 stars. Freya Marske never misses. She did her stuff with romance. It just tickles my little brain. And then I listened to A Drop of Corruption, which is fine. I preferred Tainted Cup. I am in a bit of a weird reading mood at this point because there's a lot going on. Slightly burnt out. I have an operation 2 weeks on my knee, which is not going to be fun. That's going to be not great. But I listened to it and it was fun. It was entertaining. Like, I still recommend the series, but it was okay. Tainted Cup was just better. I do love the world and the characters were cool, right? But I did kind of guess the mystery with this one, which I'm not very good at guessing them because I don't try. I'm just there to experience it, but I did guess. I didn't know the reasoning why, but I knew who it was. That was obvious. I was like, Anyway. And then I just finished A Song of Legends Lost, and my friend Nat absolutely raved about this book. She got an arc of it, and she was like, oh, and I don't know if she slightly overhyped it for me or if it's my reading mood, but it was entertaining. I rated it 4 stars, 4.25, right? Because part of it was the audiobook, which I wasn't 100% sold on the narrator. There was so many characters. I really think they would have done better to go on a dual narrator or a duet. A duet narrator is where every female character's dialogue and chapters are narrated by the woman, and then the male will insert the male dialogue. So the woman, let's say you're Temmie's point of view, and then a male family member of hers starts talking, that's from the male narrator. That is impeccable. I love it when they do that. But they just stuck with one narrator, and I think it just wasn't really there. My brain hasn't really been in a reading mood. I've not really been reading much apart from rereads like Lord of the Rings. So it's a bit kind of like this. So why am I doing this challenge, you ask, if you're in the middle of a slump? Well, I tell you why, because I am insane. Somebody says, hardest reading challenge you ever do, and I will go bet. So I've done one part of the queer alphabet, which was for Crossed by Freya Mask. And then I did subgenres of choice, which is Drop of Corruption, which is fantasy crime. And then Song of Legends Lost by the Hundreds, which is between 500 and 600 page book. This was 570. And it was entertaining. This is off to a good start. What is the next book I'm going to pick up? Well, I'm currently reading Quicksilver. So far, I am enjoying it, but I'm going to go eat some dinner and try and edit this vlog as we go along because it's insane. But I will catch up with you at a later point. Whether or not I DNF Quicksilver, who knows? I've not had great things. I've had good things. We will see. So far, having a good time. Right, let's give you an update. I should have updated you a lot sooner than I have, but life has been busy. So I've finished a couple of books. I finished Quicksilver and had such a surprisingly good time. It was kind of like ACOTAR but better. And even though the female main character annoyed me in some of her early interactions with the male main character, she kind of grew out of that. It was kind of like I'm just going to butt heads with him for the sake of things, rather than actually being kind of like, oh, okay. And there was like no dignity. This is what annoys me about romantic. It's like, oh, I'm just going to do this. I'm like, no, that's not how you do enemies to lovers. This is not, no. Wasn't believable. It was weird. But I had a good time. Like, something shocked me. It was Last Villain, which I did for new release. So Quicksilver was for the subgenres of choice. The Last Villain for new release, and it came out in June, and it was so much fun. It was entertaining. Yeah. I loved it. I absolutely fucking loved it. I cannot say anything more about it. It's a new release. It has an old woman protagonist. Like, it's not like the point of view is from an older man, not old, but like 30s-ish. And then you have somebody like in her 60s, and she's like very much the forethought, like centered around her as well. It's kind of reminding me a little bit of The Tainted Cup, but more to it. It's not just a fun murder mystery. There's more plot to this kind of mystery, right? It's not necessarily a whodunit. There's all these things going around. It kind of is a whodunit, but a little bit more, right? And I just had so much fun reading that, which is making me think, do I want to own the physical copy for my shelves? Which I don't have a lot of room, so, but also I'm like, I can get rid of some books to replace it. It'll be fine, but I had a lot of fun. I really liked the characters, I really liked how the mystery was done, and it's so entertaining. And then I just finished Dungeon Crawler Carl book 3. Did I remember what happened to book 2? No. Did it matter? No. I really enjoyed this, mainly because it had more of a depth into the character of this series, and especially I think her name is Katia, and how everything's going, and sort of Carl coming to a realization that he doesn't like how this is all being run, and what can he do to stop it, and the epic battle. I mean, everything's going to end on an epic battle at the end, because, you know, Dungeon Crawler Carl, what do you expect? But it was fun, it was entertaining, and it was just something I needed at the time. It got me through my work day, you know. That was fun. Don't quite know what I'm going to read next. I do know, actually. I'm in the middle of Kazee 3, which I'm probably hoping to finish this week. After that, no idea. But at the moment, Kazee 3 is sitting on a 4.25. I'm really, really enjoying it. But I have Kazee 3 for, I think it was like Black Heritage or something. I can't remember. But anyway, it's on a prompt somewhere. And that's kind of how far we've got at the moment. I've enjoyed the books. I did DNF the Needfire. I had that as a new release, and I couldn't do it. I was bored. I didn't give two shits about the characters that are in there, or the relationship. A lot of things that I thought really could have been interesting were just glossed over. I'm just going to DNF it. I had 100 pages left, and I just could not bring myself to finish it, because I am a series DNFer. And it's a shame, because I did, you know, Solaris gave me this lovely arc, but a friend of mine's read this and loved it, so he's going to get an arc. And so that is where I'm going to end this update. I'm due to have an operation tomorrow, so on my knee. It's not a big thing, but I don't know when I'm going to update you next, because I've got to be off for 6 weeks. So it could be soon, it could be 6 weeks time. It's kind of all going to depend on me, how I'm feeling at the moment. So we will see, but I will see you in a moment. And for me, it will be, I don't know when, some point. I just remembered I completely forgot to update you. Operation went fine. I'm all kind of up and not completely back at work, but I'm moving around absolutely fine. It was a minor up, but it's just a quick update, so it's absolutely fine. Hello, it is now August, and I decided to choose you might have already seen the video, because I did a whole video of picking my TBR for August, but I did Lord of the Reeds, picked my TBR for the TBR game, for the TBR game prompt, and I did that because Gavin reads it all, keep shouting about it, and actually she had a digital version, and I had a look at it, and I was like, it's so fun to play. Like, I keep playing it, picking the books, and then not reading the books, because I just want to pick the books, and you're like, oh, this is so fun. I don't understand it. I'm not the only one. I've talked to people that are like, oh yeah, no, I do the same. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm not the only weird one. This is part of the TBR. We have Misery by Stephen King. This is a weird edition. I do own the ebook as well. Then we have Testimony of Blood by Rock Pain, which I chose as the book to like reward myself with because it's Rock Pain. Then continue a series. For some reason, stupid me went, let's do Malazan. I do want to read this anyway. So for Reading in a Forest, I think the prompt was Heart of the Weirdwoods. So I have that, which is fun. And then something with a weapon on the cover, which I chose Play of Shadows. There is a slight sword. I don't know if you can quite see, but there's a slight sword. And then there was read something in the Middle East, which I chose to Jazzed Air, which I'm hoping I could do that as also my read a book, 500-page book in 24 hours, which is Hybrid prompt from last year that I put in this year. I'm hoping I'll do it because it's romantasy. And then also there was something else that I can't remember quite what prompt it came up for, but I did get a Black Fire Blade. You would already know this if you'd seen my other August video, but if not, there you go. This is the update. And now I'm going to go back to future Mair to tell you about the books as I read them. I'm listening to the K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack, and that film is good. I watched it twice in one day. Who the fuck told me it was that good? Nobody. No one. No. But anyway, I'm here to give you a book update, not talk about K-pop Demon Hunters, although I will talk about that to the end of life. I am this far into, you can see my pencil bookmark, Testimony of Blood by Rock Pain, which was my pick on Lord of the Rings TBR. And do you know what's ironically funny? I don't know if it's funny, but it's kind of a fun coincidence. Is literally the moment I finished my reread of book one, an hour later, this turned up. Hello. But Rockwood did send this to me himself. He signed it because he offered me to go. He wanted to send me a book, and I said yes. And I had a knee operation. He's like, get better soon. It's basically what he said. I hope you like it. And so far, loving the shit out of it. I'm also like screaming on my Instagram stories. If Redacted dies, I will riot. I have a feeling Redacted is going to die. For feeling that it's going to... Just no, do not pull my heartstrings like this, Rockbar. Do not. But this is a book 2 in the series. Book 1 is Dance Shadows. I'm not going to tell you much more on what this is about. Because spoilers, like massive spoilers. But I'm loving every second of it. I don't want to put it down. Like, I started it like 2-3 days ago. And I'm already this far through. Like, I would have read more today. Apart from the fact that I got obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunters. And started watching that. Because I also had a nap. I'm having these weird headaches at the moment of like, I wake up with a headache and it's like a tired headache, and I've got it now and it's like 9 o'clock, but I'm not tired because I had a long nap earlier. It's like my body isn't telling me to get enough sleep, or it's not giving me enough sleep because insomnia. So I've just been reading. I've been sort of like, because the stuff I want to do, I struggle to do because I'm like, I can't look at a screen when I have this kind of headache. And then this headache would then morph into a migraine, which meant I'm just like out. I'm just out, like puking everywhere. I'm out. So that's what I've smashed out 150 pages today with a headache. So which is good, because I also feel bad because I've not done anything that I wanted to do. But I was like, my body is like, you have a headache. So I'm trying to tell myself I need to take this day for me. So I took this day for me, and it was me and Rumi together, loving it. Also, the new character in this, we have a new POV in this. I really like him. I shouldn't because of who he stands for. Like, I generally shouldn't, because he's on the side of the colonizers. But I like him because it's complicated, because he's half native. Like, you can imagine, that, like, this series, right, it definitely delves deep, and you can definitely see parallels of what happened in real life here in our world to what Rockbear's created in his own world. And he has these conversations about things, you know, he's very nuanced in it as well, but you also know yourself, like, but that's okay. But it's still really compelling. And even with the main character, Rumi, he's still, like, even though he's full of vengeance in book 1, there is still this underlying care that he has for everybody he cares for, and that love that he definitely, that comes through, and especially in his music and stuff like that. And I really like that as like a message as well, of kind of like, yeah, this stuff has happened and he's furious and angry at what has happened to his life, but he's also still so full of passion and love. And I'm like, that is actually really quite special. But also, I am annotating this one, as you can kind of see I'm annotating this. And there's a couple of lines in a particular romance section of this, or just something, and I'm like, that is stunning. Give me somebody who looks at redacted as redacted looks at redacted. Sorry, no spoilers, guys. It is no spoilers, but I'm just like, that is stunning. I never thought I was a romance girly, but the way he's writing romance in this, I'm like, not swooning, but like you could feel that deep emotion from this character to this other character, and you're like, they feel that deeply about somebody? Is that possible? And it's just so stunning and beautiful, and I just love it. And there's obviously more to the story, but I'm not going to tell you exactly what is happening in the story, but it's epic. I'm worried, very worried. I'm gutted this doesn't have a map. I want a map. Give me a map. But I'm kind of excited to get back to reading, but I also just want to listen to Cave Rock Demon Hunters. Mainly the track Golden, because it made me cry, okay? The ending of it just made me cry. But I only came here to tell you about this update, and hopefully I will finish this tomorrow, because I've only got, 150 pages? How many pages? No, 200 pages. 200 pages, because it's like 500, 200 pages, pretty much, because it's 534 pages, and I'm on 339. Can I read 200 pages a day? Depends on if I wake up tomorrow with a headache. We will see, but I do highly recommend the series. It's very good. Next time I catch up, will you be giving my ending thoughts on this? I better not cry. I better not cry. Rockbo, you better not rip my heart out. What do I do with my life now? What do I do with my life? I need the next book, and it's not even going to be out for another year. I don't even know if it's even written it yet. And this delivered everything that it promised and more. It's even better than book one. There's far more pacing, and not pacing, but the character moments in this are just incredible. And I am just sitting here contemplating my life choices, and I don't know, I'm speechless. I was horrified, and then he gave me a moment at the end, which I'm not saying it's like a Sandlatch moment, but my reaction would be exactly the same, if that makes sense. I was screaming, I was crying, I was throwing up at the end, and I need more. I need to process. My God, I can't believe we did that. I can't believe Rockwood did that. I can't. What am I going to do? If you have not read this series, I don't know what the fuck you're doing this. 5 stars. I don't care. I know I've just finished it, and maybe later on I might go, maybe less, but at the moment I'm like, no, 5 stars. 5 stars. It's no less than 4.5. So I am horrified. I am emotionally distraught. I am missing a whole in my life from this series. So if that is telling you anything, go read the book. I need to contemplate for a bit. I don't know if I'm going to start Memories of Ice tonight, because this tore a hole in me that I might not be ready to start another one, but we will see. Who wants to read some more Malazan? This is a big book. This is the Broken Binding edition, and I think I might read it without the dust jacket, because I'm sorry. Look at that. Look at that. But it's a huge fucking book. I mean, look, I'm starting to get back to it. I'm going in blind. I don't know. All I know, I think, is we're getting back to Wisty Jack. So I'm excited. What are my expectations? Basically ripping my heart out and stomping it. And apparently the ending's a lot. Oh, is that like a badger? Oh, it looks like a dinosaur. Fucking... And they're like dinosaur creatures in this book. If you don't know, fucking loved. I've got the dinosaur autism. I love dinosaurs. Are you telling me? Okay, I'm even more excited now. I want to get into it. It's going to be a big undertaking, I think, but I can't wait. Let's get back to Malazan. I owe you an update. This might have to be a quick one because I've got to leave for work in 7 minutes. And I finished a couple of books since we last spoke. Last we spoke, you knew I was diving into Malazan. And let me tell you, this book finished me. I didn't finish it, the book finished me. I'm going to insert a picture of me sobbing at the end of this book. I'm not going to go too in depth on this book. 1, because of spoilers. 2, because I am going to put up a vlog of me reading this book, and you can literally see me crying and sobbing over a particular character. If you know, you know, but I love this book so much. I just couldn't. All the stars for this one, and this I did as part of the TBR game and continue a series, because for some reason I chose Malazan as my continue the series. The really long books, yeah, them. Those ones, 1,000 pages, but this is the Broken Binding edition, and I just adore it. But after that, I decided to go back to reading Kavithri, and this, I think, was my cover of choice. choice. No, it wasn't. This was the past 10 years prompt. Like, this came out in 2024, so I read that. I finished Cafe 3 because I had started it and then I put it down because I didn't take it with me where I was house sitting for work, so I just left it at home and I started something else. So it's been sitting unread for a while, and it's no fault of the book. It was just really, really good, and my dumbass just forgot to take it because I actually fucking loved this book. This book was incredible. If you like R.F. Kuang, or even if you don't like R.F. Kuang, try Cafe 3 because what the author does is what R.F. Kuang does, but with subtlety. It's the best way I think I can describe it. So for this book, I chose, it was for the prompt Heritage Month, because he's APPI, I think the abbreviation is, and the last 10 years. It came out 2024. Loved it. I loved it so much, I immediately dived into book 2 and read this in like 2 days. This is the Inkstone edition. Absolutely adored it. Like, I cannot wait now for book 3. This series is so underrated. Everybody just needs to go read it. This built on what was happening in book 1 and everything that's going that the main character is going through, plus the magic system, plus the world, plus being kind of slightly oppressed but not really oppressed but still oppressed. Loved it. So for City of Jackals, I did By the Hundreds and BIPOC. That's kind of what I did. Am I cheating with 2 APPI? Maybe, but I don't care. I don't care. I loved it so much, and because I just picked it up, I didn't plan to read it for HRCYED, whatever it is. I just had to pick it up, so I did, and then I was like, oh, actually, it would fit in this, so that's what I did. So for By the Hundreds, because it's over 300 pages, so that fitted in really, really well with a 300-page prompt. Go read those books. They are just absolutely incredible, amazing. Like, if you want more in-depth thoughts on either of these, I will have posted a review on either my Goodreads, Storygraph, and Instagram. But next up on the list was Heart of the Weirwood. I am partway through, but what my dumb ass fucking did is I remembered to take this with me when I went to sit with some dogs for a couple of hours, and I then left it there. I'm dumb. So I picked up House of Chains, and let me tell you, I am still halfway through House of Chains. It's still going. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot, but it was a rocky start with House of Chains. So that's by the by. But I'm loving this. This is a third book in a series. It has a creepy forest. I can't tell you too much about it because it's a third book in a series, but just know the characters are amazing. RJ Barker just brings it all together. But I now have this book back, so hopefully I can actually get back to this. But I also listened to The Radium Girls, which again was my non-fiction pick. And it also fits for Heritage Month, Women History. So I put it in that. And it was kind of harrowing. I was listening to it at work and I was like, how the actual fuck? What is happening? And I was tearing up. And I was like, why am I tearing? Why am I getting really emotional over this? Because of just how these women were just absolutely treated. If you don't know anything about The Radium Girls, I really, really highly suggest you go listen to this book, because the way the story was told, the way that the author brought these women into life with a voice that went for so long, the company who had employed them were dismissing them. They knew for years that radium was harming them, and they did nothing. They were like, no, it's just in your head. It's nothing to do with that. They even got their own doctors to lie on their report and refused to show the women the report because they knew what it would say. And the harrowing way they died, the strength of these women, like, holy shit, the strength of them just rising up and refusing to back down until their deathbed, even struggling to find somebody to take on their case because people are, I'm not going to touch it. It was just absolutely harrowing. But then after that, I made the decision to read The Land of the Living and the Dead.
People say Robin Hobb can make you really cry. So can Shauna Lawless. You know what you've done, Shauna, and I'm not okay.
I sobbed my way through that ending. I can never forgive Shauna Lawless. I'm on her Discord. I sent that video to Shauna and she was like, sorry. And I was like, don't think you are. If you have not read the Gal Song series, you really do. This is where historical is done perfectly, because some historicals I find are just a little bit not quite there for me because their characters aren't there. But the way Shauna Lawless does it, she brings these characters to life and they just build and build, and they are just absolutely phenomenal. And she weaves them seamlessly through this Irish history. Like, there's the acknowledgements at the end of the book, she said, like, there's some conflicting, you know, outcomes on the Battle of Clontarf. I think that's how you say it. It's Irish. I'm probably doing it wrong. But all she knew was X and X died, but nobody really knew, and all of this. But she kind of played on that a little bit, added a little bit to it, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. And this series is incredible, which brings me to, I've started Daughter of the Otherworld because I cannot not start the next book, because apparently I need to suffer more by Shauna Lawless. But anyway, The Land of the Living and the Dead went to subgenres of choice, and I've completed that prompt. I've completed one high crit prompt. That's one high crit prompt. I've been doing this since June, but I have read quite a few. I don't know how many books I've read for this. 15 books. Land of the Living and the Dead, subgenres of choice, completed it. And it also went for spooky creatures because it has its own like mythological witch type thing. Tooth of Danann, basically. They're like witches. They're a bit different, but I'm like, witches. So that's the update. That's where I am. I am about halfway through Daughter of the Otherworld. I'm hoping to get it done today, but I am working today. Today is meant to be my day off, but I'm working today and then the next Sunday, which is also my day off. But I'm hoping to have the Tuesday after off because I've switched with somebody else at another job. So I'm going to go and sort these horses out because I am late. And then I will put back at another point when I hopefully have finished this and maybe Daughter of the Otherworld, and I can give you some kind of points on my thoughts on these books. But so far, I'm impressed. I quite like this. I'm having fun. Hello. I owe you an update. There's a couple of things. I can't remember where I actually last left you off, so I might repeat a couple of things. But so I think I told you about Vampires of El Norte and Once Was Willem. I finished Daughter of the Otherworld, and holy shit, that's good. Oh my god. Shauna Lawless, immediate author by author now. I absolutely love her because I don't know what it is, that historical element, and she writes so compelling characters that I just scream about her books all the time. So go pick up Shauna Lawless. I absolutely adored it. I put some posts up on Instagram about it, but I loved it. Absolutely loved Daughter of the Otherworld. I can't really tell you too much about it because it is an Era 2, but unlike Era 2 and Mistborn, it's sort of more connected. Like the whole point of the main character ties back to Era 1. So you kind of find out stuff that happens in Era 1 and Land of the Living and the Dead. I'm still not over. I'm a crying mess from Land of the Living and the Dead, but Daughter of the Otherworld kind of mended it back together, and there was something that happened at the end. I was like, what the fuck, man? I didn't see it coming. Also, I apologise if I sound a bit horrid. I'm not very well. Really not very well. I feel like I'm hit by a train, and it just was not good. Because of that, I finished a book. But the first day of not being well, I had no brain. I had nothing. I couldn't even drink water without bringing that up. It's horrid. Finished this I read about like half the book in a day, which was Heart of the Weirdwood, which was part of my TBR pick. And I really, really enjoyed it. I actually haven't put this in the spreadsheet yet, but yes, I've read Heart of the Weirdwood. I loved it. It's the ending of the trilogy. In my opinion, book 1 is a lot better than the other 2 books. They are all really good. I feel like this, and with R.J. Barker in general, that with this series and this trilogy, his books, they flow better, or it will have more of an impact if you read them back to back, whereas I didn't, and I might go revisit it again in the future. The most compelling thing about this is the world. It has this creepy forest, but that's also tied to the magic system, but it's also tied to the plot and everything that's going on. So when I say the world's an interesting thing, it's because it is basically centered around the magic system, the plot, and the characters. They have big fuck off trees. It's called the series is Weirdwood. Is it Weirdwood? Oh no, it's called the Forsaken Trilogy. I'm calling it the Weirdwood series. But anyway, they have these massive trees to the point where your brain will trip and you'll be like, what the fuck? Because you don't know how big these trees are. Because they are massive. They are so tall. They are so high. But also Weirdwood in and of itself is a character in the setting. Like, it doesn't talk, but it has these kind of creatures and ways that people are kind of wary of Weirdwood, because what happens, like, some children can go into Weirdwood and all of a sudden they have been taken by Weirdwood. Not necessarily like they kidnapped, they will come back, but they will be different. They'll be more of the forest than they are human. All of this, and it's creepy. And then you have the cow Rye, or the Rye, which are using their cows, and to use their cows they have to take a life, which is really interesting. And there's people who are against it, who are afraid of them because they are kind of high up in the hierarchy, and there are some who just refuse to bow down to their cows. and the cow's like, I need, food, and I need to do this, and so people just go, oh, I just kill for them, some don't. And for somebody who doesn't, very few people do, but somebody who doesn't want to kill for their cow is like an outlier. It's like, what, your way? What do you mean? What? So they're like shunned. It's really interesting, and the more you go through the books, all the characters are just grow and have really good arcs. Especially saw her in. I didn't think she was a favourite. I hated it. Same with Ven. Which non-binary characters, by the way. I did not like them in book 1, but then going through book 2 and then book 3, I was like, oh, actually, no, really did like you. Same with Sorha. 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 I don't know. They were just the most compelling characters I have, and it was just amazing. There was a couple of moments in this book I was like, oh, I kind of wanted a little bit more exploration of this, but I still enjoyed it. I also read as a buddy read with Faye from Books Chocoholic and Rachel from Reading Fairy, who both, we did it as like Faye's on her Discord channel as her buddy read, which was Sleep in the Sea of Stars. Those two DNF'd it. I wish I could. I was bored shitless. I was like, when I finished it, I was like Frodo having given up the ring into Mordor and all that journey, like, oh my god, it's done. Yeah, I felt like that. I was like, oh, thank fuck it's over. It was the worst book I've ever, I mean, it's not the worst book I've ever read, but it was bad. It started off as really interesting in the beginning. I was like, cool, I'm hooked. But it's like a 36-hour audiobook. It has no reason to be that long. And like, the beginning was solid, and then it just kind of petered away. And fucking Alan, who the fuck is Alan? If you've read the book, you'll know about that. I didn't care anything about the main characters, didn't really care anything about the alien races or anything what the plot was going on. Characters were so bland, the world was just kind of hardly fleshed out, and I was like, what? This is 36 hours long, this is a big book, and you've given me drivel. But that I used for, it's also a blue cover, but I used for the Even Bigger Rainbow, because obviously blue cover, and the Avatar because it's sea and stuff. Then I also did Catabasis, which was a new release and BIPOC, because I was listening to it on BookBeat. And if you follow Overly Average Ben and seen his review of Catabasis, basically how I feel, it was very surface level. Hell is just basically academia, which I'm like, okay, but I understand Krong is trying to critique academia, which is fine, but she's doing it in such a way that it's just like, most people understand academia needs to be critiqued, and we understand their critiques. You're preaching to people who already understand things here. Like, what was the point? I didn't understand any of it. The romance between the two was just, There was a scene between the main character and the horrible professor that everybody was like, he's really horrible to his students, he does all this and he abuses them, and he still gets away with it. Fine. But then he went even further into the abuse kind of section, and I was like, what? I don't know how to feel about that. Hell just been like it was, and the whole point of the magic as well wasn't really explored well enough for it to be a magician and them going to hell and doing all, and it's just the whole premise of it. It's just, I don't get it. I do not understand. The people love this series, fine, love the book. I personally don't understand it. I think it's very, very surface level, and I enjoyed Araquan's Poppy War, and I enjoyed Babel. I'm never going to read Yellowface because I know it's just not going to be my thing. And with this book, I was unsure if it was going to be my thing, and I am right in saying it's not, because Araquan doesn't really do subtlety, and I like subtlety as a reader, but she doesn't do it, which fine, fair enough. But for me, Kwong is just not necessarily the oh my god screaming author that everybody else seems to paint her as, which is fine. Enjoy her works. I just don't. What I'm reading next is The Magician by Raymond E. Feist, which I own the other cover of the Broken Binding edition of this, which is 7 covers. So I'm going to do that, and I'm also using it for the trilogy section. I'm about 3 chapters in and surprisingly enjoying it. I didn't think I would, but I am enjoying it. I've read 21 books for HRCYED, and I've got 229 points. I haven't put Heart the Weirwood in yet, so we'll have to see what happens after that. So yes, that's my update for HRCYED. I don't know. I want to say HRCYED, but it's not HRCYED, it's HRCYED. So I'll probably come back to you with another update when I'm finished partway through Magician. I see where we go from there. The kind of other books, I'm hoping I can get through an audiobook for some other prompts. I don't know. We will see. But so far, I'm enjoying myself with this. I'm definitely enjoying myself. So I have finished Magician quite a few days ago, and I had to get through through this via the audiobook, finish it, because I couldn't physically, because oh my god, this was terrible. This was just so bad. It's just, I really wanted to DNF this so bad, and this is why I DNF, is because I get so angry, but DNFs don't count, which sucks ass. I did finish it, never again, do not recommend, it needs to go in the bin. I do not understand how this author got such an acclaim and is so famous for how bad this book is. This is like cramming 3 to 4 books into one book with hardly any pacing done and not done well. Beginning was great, the ending was fine, but the whole point of the ending had to rely on everything that happened in the middle. And what happened in the middle of this fucking book was just glossed over and just trash. As an example, one of the main characters gets taken by the opposing invaders, and he's then a slave. But all of a sudden we skip years till he's a slave, but then no character change had happened in him in being a slave. Then he gets found out that he has magic, right? In one chapter, which is 30 pages, he has gone from beginner learning how to use his magic. Also, I don't understand why they're training him, because he's like the enemy. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. On learning how to use his magic to then qualifying and being one of them and a true magician in 30 pages. That spanned 4 years. Tell me why this got past any agent or editor. I know it's written in the 80s, but anyone with an ounce of a brain had to have known that this book, it shouldn't have been contained into one volume. They should have gone, cut it at this point here, but make sure you do enough work to show the reader what is happening and don't just gloss over all of the fucking shit. Like, literally. Also, like, the woman is bad. Like, every single woman, even the elf queen, right? Thousands of year old, is suddenly falling in love with a fucking teenager. Get in the bin. Get in the bin. No, I did not like this. No, I did not like this. At all. Hated it. This is just trash. What am I going to read next? I have no idea. It is spooky season, so I have a couple of things on my TBR for spooky season, but I don't know if they're going to fit any prompts. Because I use Magician, I use the lovely Broken Binding editions. This edition, which amounts to about 7 colours for the cover change. And then because it was an 800-page book and I slogged through it, I put it for by the 100s as well, because no fucking way am I just using this for one prompt. This is going to help me out as much as possible, because I tortured myself on reading this. So I'm selling everything. It's just going in the bin. I have the other books in the series. Ain't gonna read that either. Nope. Get in the bin. But what am I gonna read next? I don't know. There's a couple of things I do want to read, but I don't know if they're going to fit any prompts, so I might have to read them and then discover if they fit some prompts and just kind of go from there. I need to have a look at the actual spreadsheet and figure out what I can read and then get back to you. I also forgot I read Cinderhouse. I needed to pick me up, but however bad Magician was, and I forgot I read Cinderhouse. Yeah, I forgot I picked up Cinderhouse, because it is a novella, and I used it for By the 100s. And what else did I use it for? New release, because it comes out in October. So I read it just before, and I did get an arc, and it was lovely. And I thought it was sapphic, but it's not sapphic, but it is still queer. I am being vague for a very intentional reason. I think you need to go into it blind. The author does agree, because she did put a post out. She's never called it sapphic. I don't know why a lot of people thought it was sapphic, and me included, because then I reread the blurb and I was like, that doesn't say anything about sapphic. It actually does mention the prince. So yeah, I think a lot of people might be disappointed, but it's a really cute novella. I really, really enjoyed it. It's basically Cinderella is dead. She died. The Cinderella figure in this book died and is haunting a house, and she then gets to go to the ball where the prince is looking for a wife, even though, and all of this kind of stuff. So then she meets the prince, but there's more to it than that. There's rules to her being dead, that she can't leave the house, that her, there's magic in the world, there's magicians. One of her stepsister is a magician who's just horrible. I really, really felt for this character, and it's only 144 pages, so I read it in an afternoon, but it was really, really well done, and I highly, highly recommend that. I have my next pick. I've just looked up what I can read, and it's going to be Guns of the Dawn, because I did promise a friend of mine I would read that with her this month. We're in October now, and then I am going to read The Blackfire Blade, because another friend of me has been screaming at me to read it for a while. The Blackfire Blade will be for the TBR challenge, and I'll probably do it for like the cover prompt as well. And then Guns of the Dawn is for the last 10 years. I don't know. I might see if there's something else that it might fit for as well as I read it. I don't know. I do believe it is a standalone at the same time. But if it doesn't hit another prompt, it doesn't hit another prompt. So that is my plan. Once I have finished Blood for the Undying Throne, which I am reading, which I think I can actually put for one of the prompts on here, which is a translation. So I can use Blood for the Undying Throne as a translation. So I am halfway through that. I literally have like under 100, not even halfway through. I'm almost done with it. I have under 100 pages left. I just couldn't finish it yesterday because I didn't get back home till like 8 p.m. And by that point, I was just like, I just want to watch Neil Newborn play Baldur's Gate 3 and go to bed. So that's what I did. So I'm going to go finish those books, and then I will jump back in with you when I've finished with brief thoughts and maybe what I'm going to pick up next. I don't know. I'm a massive mood reader, guys. Right, hello. You were having Mair from the floor as she's trying to stretch her painful hip out because I had osteotreatment the other day, and my body was in such a bad shape that now it's kind of like, what, you shifted me, I adapted to everything, and now I have to, and so now my hip hurts. But I'm here to give you calendar updates because I've finished a couple of books and I haven't actually updated you. So there's a couple of books I need to update you. So first one is, I don't know if I mentioned Blood for the Undying Throne, which I read. Obviously there was Heart of the Weirdwood, which I think I covered, and I'm looking at the sheet on my phone here, by the way, if you see me looking down. And then Blood for the Undying Throne, which I did for a new release, and also an even bigger rainbow. It's book 2 to The Blood of the Old Kings, which I don't know how much I can tell you about this, apart from the fact that it builds from book 1, especially when they mention this sort of county kind of, anyway, in this world that was just destroyed basically in book 1, and it's kind of delves a little bit into the history of that, but also the political things that are kind of shifting and happening, especially around the Circuit of Destiny, which is a weird fucking thing. Dead sorcerers power the Circuit of Destiny, but they can also power other things. That's an interesting concept, I know. It builds all from that, and it was really interesting going through and knowing what ended up happening within this country, but also seeing the characters and the people and how they all used to be, and what happens when people who have more power, like the big empire, decides to go, I'm going to take over. It's very much dealing with colonialism and that, but in a different way that has been done before, because we all know it's bad. So this is just showing the case of, this is what happened and this is the people that used to live there, and it really makes you care. But there's also secrets that happened as well, and even though they did get kind of colonized, but even though they kind of invited it in because they were under the rule of a really, really bad king who was using them the whole time and was like, give me people as tithes. He was a necromancer king, I think. There was a lot to unpack. It wasn't just as simple as, well, the Empire came in, there was more to it. So that was really interesting to understanding a bit more about that. But then we went back to the whole, what was happening from the end of book 1 and going all the way through. Just trust me and say, read it. This has dragons, and it's dragons how you've never seen done before. If you are literally annoyed with how the dragons are done, read this series. I completely forgot that I requested Into the Drowning Deep at the library purely for HRCYED. HRCYED. I completely forgot that was why. So with Into the Drowning Deep, because I started listening to the library and I went, oh, I think this would do for HRCYED, because otherwise I would have updated you before this point. Thinking back on it, I went, oh, that is probably why I requested it, because it had mermaids. And when I'm talking mermaids, I'm talking creepy, flesh-eating, fast, high body strength mermaids that hunt you in the water. Yeah, but there was this ship that went missing in the Mariana Trench in the sea. And the ocean is scary enough as it is, but this particular place is just calm waters and nobody really knows much about it. But this ship ends up going missing, and people a lot of the time believed it was mermaids. There was footage, but a lot of the government and the Navy did just shut it down. But no, you're not releasing this. But these people then decide, we're going to go back. Like, that's a good idea? Okay. And then chaos ensues. You're alone on the water. There is technical faulties with a couple of the shutters against the edge of the ship, again as protection. They're not working very well. Mermaids get into the ship, all sorts of things. I did really enjoy myself, not gonna lie. I had a good time. and it's not usually a thing I would read. But for that book, I put it under Spooky Creatures. I'm so close to finishing that one. And then disability rep, because it had autism, nerve damage, deafness. So there's a lot of representation there. The autism rep I'm a bit on, because it just didn't really seem like... We met this character first, and she's in like a kind of, not really a TV presenter, kind of nod. And we're meeting her, and I was like, cool. And then it came about like, oh yeah, like the autism, and I was like, what? I didn't catch it before that point. I just didn't. But again, I also don't know if that's also going to be the case with some autistic people at the same time, because it looks different on everybody. But I also don't know if it was very minutely put in, and I don't know if it was done with enough research going into stuff. It's a little bit of a grey area. I'm not entirely sure on it myself. But the other reps was pretty good. Especially the deaf rep, that was really good. Especially the conversation she had around how people just, expect me to lip read, or they end up looking at my interpreter even though they're talking to them and not looking at me. So it really does open a couple of eyes on that kind of thing. So I did really, really enjoy that. Then I read the Jazzed Air, which was fine. I did this for the 24-hour readathon, along with the Woman in Black, which scared me more than it should have, considering what was in the book. But I was going on what was in the film, and expecting the film to kind of be and the film played a lot more on the horror aspect of it than the book did, which that's made me go, oh, it's gonna happen, and then it never did, and I was like, oh, so I kind of left that feeling a little bit disappointed. The Jazzed Air is where you're following this main character who has ties to a kingdom that got burned down to basically nothing of the waste, and the magic people are now not allowed to exist. And she ends up falling into kind of into the lap of the heir to the kingdom, who ended up burning down her kingdom, and he ends up enlisting her into these trials. For some reason they do trials, and it was fine, but this was sold to me as a little bit of a romantasy, and it's just not. It's not at all. It's not. It's very much on her journey on getting revenge in a sense, but it's also not a female revenge either. It's very much about these trials, and then she's kind of liking this main character as a love interest, but I also don't really see it very well because they didn't really have a lot of page time together to kind of have that. He was nice as a character. I did kind of want it a little bit more, but them together, I wasn't sold. And also the fact that the on-page romance was probably about 10% of the book. That's a subplot. So that wasn't really the thing. So that was kind of annoying. It was entertaining enough. I think I rated it by 3.5 stars. Maybe less. At the time, I was like, I'll read book 2. Now I'm like, I can't be fucking asked. Probably not going to at all. And then obviously The Woman in Black for the 24-hour readathon. Oh, also the Jazzed Air I also did for my HRCYED prompt 1. HRCYED 1 prompt. I can't talk. Because I chose to read a 500 plus page book in a single day. And I did, with the help of the audiobook. I did have it on a high speed, but I can also listen to a high speed. And I also listened and read at the same time, which means I can have that on about 3.5 speed and still pay attention to going along. I can't do that in just listening, but I can do it if I'm tandem reading it, basically. That's what I did. Then I went to Woman in Black, which, as I said, scared me more than it actually should have. Considering the actual book, it was just more playing on the creepiness of anything. It wasn't actually scary. But I was being like, ugh, because I'm expecting things to happen in the film to actually happen in the book, and they didn't. So, but it did end quite sad. But I liked the fact that I read it. And as far as we're going, is I put that in for the TBR game and the 24-hour readathon. I am reserving the right to change that, because Women in Black was exactly 200 pages, and I'm struggling to find a book that is 200 pages, because Cinder House was 144 pages. So that doesn't quite fit. So I don't know. I don't know. If I'd read The Fireborn Blade for this, it might have counted, but I read it earlier in the year, so it doesn't count, which is kind of annoying. I finished One Wicked Things, which coincidentally turns out will fit in the cover prompt, because it's mainly black. It's black and gold. It looks cool, doesn't it? But this is a Great Gatsby retelling, and I liked it. It was fine. Especially if you like your witches to do with blood magic, which I absolutely adore, you would definitely like this. So this is a Great Gatsby retelling, but it's dealing a lot with the internal conflicts and relationships, especially if you like things to be a little bit messy. Like, everything's going wrong. Everything is so messy. This will definitely suit you, especially if you like romance, a little bit gay, and murder. This was really, really fun. I really did enjoy how things just kind of built up within how the relationships built, how the world was kind of explored. Although I do have a gripe with the world, because this is set off the coast of England and it's not English, it's too American, which I understand is a great Gatsby retelling, but you're setting it off the coast of England. And it's around the time of like World War One, I want to say. Does it even say 1920s? So yeah, around the time of World War One. So I did enjoy this. I did like the witches, especially how they use their blood magic. And sometimes if they do a spell for some people, but if that person doesn't give enough or chooses not to give at that moment, the witch can give in its place temporarily until the spell is like, no, we need the blood of the original like person. Things go wrong, witches can end up going a little bit crazy inside their heads, or at least not themselves. It was just interesting. I did really like it. I did like it. It was interesting. It was fun. Then I also finished a prompt. Yeah, I did. I finished Spooky Creatures because I read Blackfire Blade, and I also read Into the Drowning Deep, which I had mentioned before, but I read the Blackfire Blade. Did not like this book. Did not like this book. But it had ghouls in it. So because I finished it, I went, you're fucking using you to complete a prompt, because I did not like the book. So the least it can do is help me complete a prompt. The ghouls were in like, I don't know, a third of the book. I don't know. I'm counting it. It was a thing that happened, right? So it also has a construct dragon. Not a real dragon. Made up dragon, but a dragon nonetheless. I just had so many issues with this book. So many issues with the book. I think it was poorly written. I think a lot of the conflicts that Logan was trying to go for were just very shallow in the way he was approaching them, and he didn't do enough groundwork to set up for this kind of conflicts that he was trying to achieve. Internal conflicts between characters. He missed a complete opportunity to talk about the main character's drinking problem, because I don't know if it didn't really come across as if it was meant to be a drinking problem, but it is a drinking problem, and people just kind of brush it off like it's fine, when we all know. But some people didn't brush it off as it was fine, and there was no actual conversation about that, even though when we ended book one he kind of wasn't really drinking anymore. There was also the case of the thing that really did annoy me. The whole point in book one was that his father died and he needed to find out why, and there was this clue that was left, so we had to go to the city to find out why. But when we get there, it's like, we'll do this whole side quest over here before we go back to here to get what you came here for. Didn't like that very much. It was a fun popcorn book for like a book one. I was like, okay, it's fine. I did do it via audio, where I did physically read this one, so I don't know if there's a little bit of a difference there. So then we end, and the reveal, I thought, oh, we're finally going to find out. No, we didn't. It was a clue to go to another place to then find out the real reason why his father died. Okay. Then we get to the beginning of this book, and the stupidest reason why he loses this thing is a key. It's a key. I'm just going to tell you, it's a fucking key. It's dumb as shit. Then the whole point that the whole book felt like a side quest for him to get the key back, to then he can just go open it. I'm like, what the actual fuck? It felt like a complete side quest to what we were actually needed to be focusing on. And I was like, hang on a minute. There can be better ways you can persuade people to help you to get to what you want to reveal in this book than the reason he came up with. And I was like, what? And then I read the last chapter, and that was the one single chapter I liked in the whole book. 580 pages, mate. I read 580 fucking pages of trash just to get to one chapter that I like. I think I'm bailing out of that series. I buddy read it with a friend. He agreed with me. We bonded over our hatred for this book. I've met James Logan. He's such a lovely guy. He's also an editor as well, but writing and editing, different skills. I don't quite know what happened here. It didn't really work for me at all. It will probably work for a lot of other people. A lot of people are enjoying it. And even talking with another friend who's read it and enjoyed it and loved it, he's like, I understand your issues, they just didn't bother me. So it could work for you. I just didn't. So I liked book one, and I'm going to leave it at book one, I think. I have a signed edition of book one when I met James Logan, because I was one of the first ones who had an arc of book one, and I read it and spoke to him about it, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm so sad that I didn't enjoy this one. It's sad. It's sad I didn't like it, but I completed a prompt because it had ghouls. So Spooky Creatures is ticked off. Let me just go through what I have left to fill in, because I might end this vlog soon. but because it's been going on for a while. So I have 2 spaces left on the by the 100, which is a 200 place spot and the 600. Again, I can always switch the Woman in Black that I used for the 24-hour readathon and the TBR game to the 200 prompt, because that was exactly 200 pages. So I could easily do that, but I'm going to try and see if I can find another book that I can read. But 600 page prompt. So that's what I have. And then obviously I did a 24-hour readathon, so that is now done as well, which you should probably guessed. But I read pretty much 2 books. One was 523 pages, the other one was 200 pages. So, which was 2 books total read. But that is done. Subgenres of Choice is already done. That was the first one I finished. Series Staircase. I've got a lot. I've basically only read the solo. But I am working my way through the Malazan books. So I've read Memories of Ice for this, and I'm about 60% through House of Chains, which I am kind of struggling with a little bit, not gonna lie. It's now picking up a bit more, but I took a time off. Award season is just self-published books. TBR game, I'm close to being done. All I have left to do is read a book with a weapon on the cover, which I have Play with Shadows for that, and a book set in the Middle East. I have The Hero Born. I'm not 100% sure if that is counted as Middle East, but again, I can always reread The Daughters of, you can't see it on the screen, I'm pointing at it like you can see it, but you can't even fucking see it. Reread The Daughters of Is to Here, and then finish the duology with Weavers of Amaxa, because I know that is definitely set in the East. The last 10 years, again, I've read 1 book for that one, which was Cavite 3. Disability Challenge. Again, I've read 1 book, which is Into the Drowning Deep, which I've put for autism on there, even though I'm not 100% sure on that representation personally. I think it is, I don't know, I just need a little bit more work. But I'm not going to go into that rant. Heritage Months. I have read 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got a way to go on that one. I'm not doing translation. Around the World, I've read 2. I'm a little bit, I don't know if, because Shauna Lawless is, I think, Northern Ireland, if she'd count as Europe. Because if so, I could put Daughter of the Otherworld in there. But I also could put Daughter of the Otherworld in Become the Avatar. But we'll get to that in a minute. And then Even Bigger Rainbow, which I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which isn't bad. Make a Quote, I have not even started. Because that is a lot. Speaking Creatures, done. Become the Avatar, which I have To Sleep to See the Stars. I could also do Into the Drowning Deep, but I don't think I have for that one, because that would also, but anyway, Sleep to See and Sea of Stars, because that book was a slog. That needs to give me something in return. But the other thing again, because I kind of a little bit on The Daughter of the Otherworld might be Earth, but I don't know, because I don't know if other worlds, because it's the dead world, and I don't know. It is set around mythology, but I don't know if that would count. So I'm a little bit unsure on that one. Readathon challenge, which I'm planning to do in November, is NetGalley November, because I have too many arcs. And I still keep requesting. I know, I'm bad. But anyway. Animals. Oh, I'm also close to finishing with Animals, because again, I'm debating putting Blood from the Undying Flame for this, but I don't know, because there was a donkey that followed one character throughout her whole story. He was her donkey. And I think it was named. Pretty sure he named it. Double check that. So that might count for that. But again, I have 1, 2, 3, so zoo animals, farm animals, and exotic pets. I have the butterfly lion down for the zoo animals because I actually own it and it's a lion, but I'm a little bit stumped on exotic pets and farm animals if Blood from the Undying Throne doesn't work. A Queer Alphabet, hardly anything. I have 1, 2, 3. I've done 3 out of the 9, but I have done HRCYED Prompt 1, which is read a 500-page book in 1 single day. BIPOC challenge, I'm working my way through. I only have 2 ticked off at the moment, but I am working my way through. I have ideas of books I want to read that I also want to vlog at the same time for another video, so that we're going there. New releases, again, you can only do so many because that's monthly. So I've read my October release, and I just have November and December, which was really hard to find a release that's coming out in December. Man, it's so hard. Challenge Yourself, which is just read self-pub books, that would just happen. Non-fiction, I've read 1 non-fiction book, which was The Radiant Girls, and I did really enjoy it. I do really recommend you go read that. And then I haven't really done anything on Q's reviews yet. But there we go. There we go. So that's my update on HRCYED. I've read quite a few books for this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed this. So I'm now going to end this vlog here. And this is where we're leaving it on. I'm going to film another one that will take another probably 3 months to go through on HRCYED. But if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned in this video, please let me know. If you hated the books I've mentioned, let me know. If you think I'm wrong on some opinions, let me know. And if you have any suggestions to books that I'm struggling to find, also please let me know. But I do hope you enjoyed this, coming with me onto this moment. And I have a feeling this is going in a bad fucking quality again, but we're just going to have to go with it because I'm ending the video and I'm annoyed at my phone. I think I need to just clear some space. But anyway, I'm going to end this video and hopefully it's not filmed in bad quality. And I will see you in the next one.